Okay, good morning to all students. Previous class we understand objectives of cost accounting, advantages of cost accounting, and what is meant by cost, costing, cost accounting, cost accountancy. In today's session, we are starting the discussion from limitations of cost accounting. See, in every subject, certain limitations will be there. So in case of cost accounting also, some limitations are there. Okay. So suppose in case of financial accounting, if you want to discuss the limitation, financial accounting is also having some limitations, like it is historical, not means future oriented things will not be covered in financial accounting. Okay, only whatever completed in past, for that only we can use financial accounting. Financial accounting is not useful for managerial decision making. Okay, financial accounting, financial statements preparation exclusively depends on the documents which are maintained. If documents are having certain issues, final statements will also have some issues. Like this, in every subject some limitations are there. So here also some limitations will be there in cost accounting. First limitation is cost accounting is not suitable for small or tiny organizations. Reason is small or tiny organizations cannot afford or cannot means incur the cost for separate cost accounting area, because installation of costing system is not very simple. It will have some pertinent things with the subject. So this is the reason ki this is not suitable for small or tiny. Simple example, by suppose one small shop is there, that shopkeeper is selling the textile. If you ask the question to that shopkeeper ki you are using the cost accounting, simply will answer no, because cost accounting is not at all required. He is doing the trading business. Ready-made goods is purchasing, ready-made goods is selling. Actually there is no use of cost accounting also for him. When he became manufacturer, when he became service provider, when he is doing the business on large scale basis, when he is doing the business on very high turnover basis, then he will think about cost accounting. For small tiny businesses, traders, for doing the trading business, cost accounting is not suitable also, and people will not use also. Clear? You ask the question to a shopkeeper who is selling certain goods, what is direct cost, what is indirect cost, he don't know. He know purchase sale, he know administration expenses, but he does not having any knowledge about direct cost, indirect cost, like this. That's why this is not suitable for small or tiny organizations. Okay. Next is installation of cost accounting system is not easy. It is difficult, sometimes expensive also, because one team is required here and certain responsibilities has to be fixed over the people, like cost center, investment center, revenue center. Responsibility accounting is used mostly in large scale enterprises or medium scale enterprises. So from those people, cost accounting department will collect the relevant information. In a small organization, staff members are limited. We cannot fix responsibilities to different persons. So collecting the data from parties difficult. This is the reason ki installation of costing system is not suitable for small or tiny organizations. Understand? Next is cost accounting results and financial accounting results always differ from each other, because financial accounting principles are different, cost accounting principles are different. Financial accounting is based on generally accepted principles of accounting, clear gap accounting principles and rules. Cost accounting depends on generally accepted cost accounting principles. So there is a huge gap between the terminology of costing and financial accounting. So this is the reason ki results shown by cost accounting, financial accounting also differ from each other. Okay. So here also organization has to go for reconciliation if it is required. Always reconciliation is not required. In some cases, organization will use integrated system. So when integrated system is used, reconciliation is not required. If organization is not following integrated system, then reconciliation required. This we will discuss in cost bookkeeping topic. What is integrated, what is non-integrated. Okay. And cost accounting is not applicable for all industries. Here government has put some threshold limits. Government has provided some threshold limits. If this much of turnover, then cost accounting applicable. Means companies have to maintain cost records. They have to submit the cost audit report to the government. Suppose one small manufacturer started the manufacturing. He is not following the threshold limit prescribed by government. Then cost accounting not applicable to him. So he will not use. According to his own technical knowledge, he will set the selling price, he will fix the selling price. So he will not take the services of cost and management accountant also. So here threshold limit is there. If the turnover is more than the threshold limit, then compulsory organization has to maintain the cost records. So this is one of the reason key cost accounting is not applicable for all industries. Starting initial stage, we understand that cost accounting is applicable for manufacturing side, service side. But in manufacturing and service also, it is not applicable for all. Depends on what threshold limit prescribed by the government. If organization's turnover is below the threshold limit, then it is not applicable. This is also one of the limitation. Financial accounting everybody will use, small to big, because small businessman also earning 3 lakh rupees income more than the tax exemption amount. He has to file income tax return. To file income tax return, he has to submit how much he earned, P&L statement he has to show, balance sheet he has to show, or statement of affair he has to show. Clear? So financial accounting is used by every person, almost all. Clear? But cost accounting, even manufacturer also, if they are not following in threshold limit, they will not use. This is the limitation, another limitation. Already yesterday I explained that if you became the cost and management accountant, always you deal with big clients. Small clients are not there in your office. 1500,000 rupees clients. Always you have big clients. Because their threshold limit is very high, they are falling under the category, then only they are required the costing services. Then they will approach the cost and management accountant. So by default, what will happen ultimately? Big clients will be generally approaching the cost and management accountant. Clear? So till this, I hope everything is clear. Now, limitations or objections to the cost accounting. Small and tiny organization does not require cost accounting system. Installation of cost accounting system is expensive as it involves additional cost. Results shown by cost accounts will differ from those shown by financial accounts. It is inapplicable to many industries. Inapplicable to many industries means not applicable to many industries. Even in India, suppose almost all 10 lakh businesses are there, 20 lakh businesses are there. So for so many companies, cost accounting is applicable. Very small manufacturer, small service provider, this is not applicable. This is the limitation. Okay. The next is cost unit. Cost unit. So when organization incur the cost for producing a product or rendering a service, in what way it is measured? Ultimately, that will be called as cost unit. Suppose organization incurred 10 crore rupees cost, clear? And they produced 1 crore units. So what is the cost per unit? 10 rupees. Clear? Suppose organization has incurred 10 crore rupees cost. They produce 1 crore meters of cloth. So what is the cost per meter? 10 rupees. So in different areas, cost unit will be different. Cost unit never same. Sometimes it is measured in units, sometimes it is measured in meters, sometimes it is measured in liters, sometimes it is measured in gallons, sometimes it is measured in different way. So depends on what? Nature of industry. Depends on what? Nature of industry. Clear? So a cost unit is a unit of product, service or time in terms of cost are ascertained or expressed. Okay, so it is basically a unit of measurement. It is basically a unit of measurement, like what is the cost of per 1000 bricks, what is the cost of per ton of coal, per meter of cloth, per liter of chemical. Okay, in case of real estate business, per square foot, wood per square foot, clear, marble granite per square foot, like this cost units are used. So cost unit is a measurement, clear, whatever cost we incurred, that is ultimately measured in terms of what? Cost unit, clear. So I hope this is understand. See, sometimes this can be per brick also. Here 1000 bricks given, na? Sometime per brick also possible. In market, per brick information also some people will take. Here per ton given, so per kilogram also possible. Clear? In case of per ton, we can use per kilogram also. In case of per liter, we can use per gallon also. Okay? Per hour also, like labor cost. Labor cost is generally measured in what? Hour. Clear? And wood and real estate dealers will sell their properties on what basis? Square feet. Clear? So different areas, cost unit is different. So in last examination, this question is tested. True, false. Cost unit is a unit for which separate measurement is required. True or false? Yes. Because in every area, separate measurement required. In one area, liter, one area, meter, one area, square feet. So separate measurement required or not? So last exam paper, if you see, this question is tested already. Cost unit means ultimately whatever cost organization is incurring, it is measured and expressed in what? It is measured and expressed in what? That is called as what? Cost unit. Because ultimately whatever cost we incurred, we should convert that cost into units or square feet. Clear? Suppose one one crude oil company is there. That crude oil company is excavating the process, and through process they raised 1000 gallons of oil, crude oil. Clear? And they are selling that crude oil on per liter basis. So how much cost they incurred? First they have to calculate now what is the cost per liter of crude oil. Then only they can fix the selling price. Without calculating the cost, they cannot fix the selling price. So compulsory cost per unit is required. Now suppose if you went to the timber depot where wood is sold, plywood is sold. Suppose you ask what is the cost of plywood or timber, you simply say what? Per square foot. Per square foot. Clear? Suppose you went to the cloth shop, per meter. Clear? Petrol bunk, liter. So in different places, cost measurement and its expression is different or not? So this is very important. If you do not understand this, means subject knowledge is limited. Okay? So what is the purpose? To express in terms of unit, cost per unit. So purpose is what? To express the cost in terms of per such unit. Okay? So it can be used in production also, it can be used in service also. In production, like per kilogram, per ton, per 1000 bricks, per liter, per gallon, per square foot like this. In service industries also it will be used. Like hospital, you went to the hospital, what you'll ask? What is the per day room rent? Hotels also, or bed cost. In hotels also per day room rent. Clear? Canteens, caterers, per plate cost, right? So in case of transport industries, per kilometer cost. So service industries different, manufacturers different. Okay, I hope this is clear. Right, don't write anything. I will share this PDF once chapter is ended or completed. Okay, only you should concentrate. Already this is there in your foundation level now, but still I am covering because from this area they are asking 5 mark 10 mark questions. So once you understand one more time, then conceptually will be fit. You can attempt theory questions also in proper way. Next is cost object. Cost object means whenever we incur the cost, always cost is incurred for producing a product or rendering a service. But with what objective you are incurring the cost? Before incurring only you will decide, na? It is pre-decided. To produce the units, to produce the oil, to produce the cloth, to produce the means any other things, to render this service. For what purpose you are incurring the cost is generally called as cost object. So ultimately its measurement will be also related to that. So separate measurement also required here. So whenever you incur the cost, always cost is incurred with some purpose. What is the purpose? Either for producing the goods or rendering the service. So here also separate measurement required. So cost object may be defined as anything for which a separate measurement of cost is required. A separate measurement of cost is required. Like in case of product, you will incur the cost now. So it is for product. In case of service, it is for particular service. Like one organization is manufacturing the motor cars. So what purpose they are incurring the cost? For producing motor cars. Microsoft company is incurring the cost for producing the motherboards. So for what purpose they are incurring the cost? For producing motherboards. Clear? So that is their purpose. So here it is given C. It may be provided, it may be product wise, service wise mostly. And in activity based costing, we will consider activity wise also. So cost object is suppose product. If you are producing product, you are incurring the cost for producing product. Your objective is what? We are incurring the cost for product. So what kind of products will be possible here? Any product. The example is given: car, TV, computer, mobile phone, or any other product also. Clear? For service, hotel, hospital, transport organization. It can be for hotel, it can be for transportation, it can be for hospital. So the cost which is incurred, mainly what is the purpose of incurring that cost, is called as what? Cost object. So here also separate measurement is required. Here also separate measurement is required. Sometimes cost is incurred for process also, activity also. Process means crushing process, finishing, refining process, finishing process. Like in process costing it is used. Sometimes product has to be passed through different processes to complete in the finished goods stage, to reach to the finished goods stage. So first process, second process, third process. So process wise cost is incurred. So you cannot say we are incurring the cost for this particular reason. We should express clearly that this is a cost relating to crushing process. This is a cost relating to refining process. This is a cost relating to finishing process. So always before incurring the cost, its object is decided. For what purpose you are incurring. Okay? Understand? This point is clear? Sometimes it is incurred for activity also. Like one organization is placing the material order, they are inspecting the goods. So this is activity. Activity means what? Whenever some acts will be performed or taking place, then activity came into existence. Like when material purchase, inspection required or not? The inspection is one of the activity. Okay. Whenever material is ordered, then immediately material will not send, no? It will be sent through transportation. So if you place more number of orders, more times you have to incur ordering cost. You place less number of orders, less number of times you have to incur ordering cost. So this is what? Ordering cost. Ordering cost also what? Activity. Activity is high, cost will be high. Activity is less, cost will be less. More number of orders you are placing, more cost. Less number of orders, less cost. More inspections, more cost. Less inspection, less cost. That is called as activity. Okay. So this is your cost object and cost unit. Cost unit is generally used for calculating the cost in terms of unit, meter, liter, square feet, like this. Cost object means what? For what purpose you are incurring the cost. You are incurring the cost for product A, you are incurring the cost for service A, you are incurring the cost for process A, you are incurring the cost for activity A. So the purpose for which you are incurring the cost is called as cost object. So always your purpose is same or different? Different. That's why separate measurement required here. That's why separate measurement required here. Okay. Chaliye, after this we can discuss the classification of cost. This is very important area. If any student who is not understanding this area, means from beginning to end the student will struggle in the subject. He is not having the confidence in subject. Clear? This is very important part of the syllabus. So first I will check any student is having doubts. No doubt. Okay. Actually in CMA study material, cost accounting standard classification of cost is explained in compressed way. Here I am explaining very detailed version. In cost accounting standard 1, only some limited explanation is given, but here I am explaining 2-3 extra points also. So because of this there is no loss to the students. These points will help in other topics. Okay. So don't make the argument with me ki sir in study material these 2 points are not covered, but you unnecessarily explained. So extra if you learn, there is no loss. Okay. First cost accounting standard is cost accounting standard 1. This is called as classification of cost. This is called as what? Classification of cost. What is cost accounting standard? All this we will discuss separately in cost accounting standard chapter. Okay. But right now we are discussing the classification of cost. Actually classification of cost without giving the cost accounting standard 1 reference also I can explain. But usually cost accounting standard 1 explaining this. This is the reason I am giving the reference. Okay. But cost accounting standards we haven't discussed so far. So don't consider ki we have already understand cost accounting standard and we started 1. No. We haven't touched cost accounting standards. Clear? Wait. After completion of some topics, we'll discuss that. Okay. And along with that, we have to understand generally accepted cost accounting principles also. Generally accepted cost accounting principles also. So right now you should consider this area as classification of cost. What? That's it. This is important. Classification of cost. Okay. Now whenever the term classification is mentioned, what is coming in the mind of student? Different basis. Different basis. Means what are the different bases of cost breakup? Okay, what are the different bases which are used in cost accounting to break up the cost? So this depends on what? Different situations. Cost classification is not same always. It will differ according to requirements. Understand? For example, if you want to classify the cost according to its nature, you want to classify the cost according to element wise, it will be different. If you want to classify the cost according to function, behavior, it will be different. If you want to classify the cost according to normality, it will be different. If you want to classify the cost according to time, it will be different. If you want to classify the cost according to management decision making, it is different. Okay, so different situation, classification is different. Now always same type of cost classification is not considered in cost accounting. According to requirement, classification will be decided. Understand? Suppose if you are learning a chapter called as cost sheet. So in cost sheet chapter, mainly your cost is break up into two parts, direct, indirect. That classification will be required. That classification will be required in cost sheet. So the cost and management accountant will use element wise classification. Direct, indirect. That's it. Okay. Now in cost sheet, behavior wise classification is not important. What is variable, what is fixed, what is semi-variable, that is not important. Because in cost sheet, ultimately cost is expressed in two parts only. Direct, indirect only. Fixed variable is not used. But when you use budgetary control topic, flexible budget, then direct, indirect is not important. Fixed variable, semi-variable important. Okay. When you go for marginal costing, then variable only important. And fixed is considered as period cost. In marginal costing also direct, indirect not important. In marginal costing, direct, indirect not important. Clear? Management decision making. In management decision making, direct, indirect also not important. Variable, fixed also not important. In management decision making, sunk cost, opportunity cost, discretionary cost, committed cost, relevant, this is important. So in different places, cost classification is different. Depends on your requirement. Why suppose you see the cricket match also, in team, fast bowler is also there, spin bowler is also there, medium pace bowler is also there. Why this variation is required? All fast bowlers, all spin bowlers or all medium pacers? Why this combination is required? Confuse the batsman. Clear? Because in different situation, different bowlers will play different role. Suppose if batsmen are hitting shots to fast bowler, then spin bowler can control, na? So combination required or not? So here also always cost classification is not same. Depends on situation. Depends on situation. In every situation, cost classification will never same. It will change. Okay? So decision making point of view, it is different. When you are preparing a statement of cost, it is different. When you are preparing budget, it is different. When you are preparing marginal cost statement, it is different. So in different areas, different classification required. This is the reason key in cost accounting they develop this terminology. Understand? Suppose you want to check how much cost has been incurred on producing the product, then ultimately cost sheet is prepared. So in cost sheet, direct indirect will take place. You will understand ki direct how much incurred, indirect how much incurred, then total how much. When you prepare budget is prepared for 50%, 60%, 70%, 80%. Suppose organization is operating at 80% level. Suppose one organization normal capacity is 10,000 unit. It means if they operate at 100%, they can produce 10,000 units. But right now their demand is 50% only. So they are producing 5,000 units only. But they are expecting in future demand will increase. Demand can increase to 80% also. So they want to prepare the budget for 50 also, 60 also, 70 also, 80 also. So in that case, which cost is changing according to level? That should be required or not? So in that case, behavior wise classification required. So which cost will change according to 50 to 60, 60 to 70, 70 to 80? X will not change. X will remain same. Or 50 also same, 60 also same, 70 also same, 80 also same. In this classroom, if 10 students also coming, same rent. 50 students also coming, same rent. 100 students also coming, same rent. Rent will change. But variable cost will change, material cost. More number of students coming means more material. Clear? So that is variable. So in some places, behavior wise classification required. In some places, element wise classification required. In some cases, functional classification required. Functional means according to function we have to classify the cost. Production, administration, selling and distribution, R&D, quality control, like this. Okay. So this is the reason ki in cost classification terminology is explained. Okay. And sometime according to time also we have to classify the cost, like historical cost, clear, futuristic, predetermined cost, estimated cost, like this. So this is nothing but grouping. This is nothing but what? Grouping of cost. Okay. So first is by nature or element. By nature or element. In last examination, in MCQ questions, examiner has tested one particular question here. He asked in cost sheet, what basis of cost classification is used? So nature or element wise. Direct, indirect. So if you understand this, then only you can write. Some students does not means know the value of this theory. They simply absent and they will join the classes from practical topic only. They will lose 5 marks here. 5 marks also important. So first by nature or element. So suppose any industry by construction, manufacturing, process, any industry, ultimately cost is break up into 3. Okay. Material, labor, overheads. Material, labor, overheads. Clear? So entire cost is ultimately break up into 3 parts only. First is material, second is labor, third is overheads. Material means raw material, direct material. Labor means direct labor. Overhead means what? Indirect nature. It may be factory also. It may be administration also. It may be selling and distribution also. It may be R&D also. Okay. So indirect cost. Okay. So overheads. So in this we will discuss this. See. Classification of cost by element. So material, labor, expenses. Okay. Here I have given the word expenses because I am explaining direct also, indirect also. Because material all can be direct also, indirect also. Labor can be direct also, indirect also. and expenses can be direct also, indirect also. Clear? So here I am using the word expenses. So material, direct material, indirect material, labor, direct, indirect, expenses also direct, indirect. This is called as element wise. So there are three elements of cost: material, labor, expenses. So first material, second labor, third expenses. So direct, indirect material, direct, indirect labor, direct, indirect expenses. So direct material, direct labor, direct expenses. If you add these three, this is called as prime cost. This is called as what? Prime cost or direct cost. Direct material, direct labor, direct expenses. If you add this, this is called as prime cost or direct cost. Understand? Now indirect material, indirect labor, indirect expenses. This is combinedly called as overheads. This is combinedly called as overheads. So ultimately, if you divide the cost, there are three elements: material, labor, expenses. In material also we have two: direct, indirect, labor also two: direct, indirect, expenses also two: direct, indirect. Okay. Now we have to study what is direct material, what is indirect material, what is direct labor, what is indirect labor, what is direct expenses, what is indirect expense. Okay. So direct material. Now we are discussing what? Direct material. Direct material means what? Direct material means material whose cost object is identifiable in economic feasible way. Whose cost object is identifiable in economic feasible way. Now this wording you haven't understand what CMA is saying. Cost object is identifiable in economic feasible way means, suppose if you produce one product, if you see that product, from what material that product is made, you can identify or not. That is direct material. That is what? Direct material. Understand? So this mic, this mic is prepared from plastic. Here direct material is what? Plastic. This table is made from plywood. So direct material is what? Plywood. So cost object is identifiable in economic feasible way means, by seeing the product you can easily understand ki from which material this is produced. The product is made from which material, that can be easily identifiable. So that is called as direct material. In this table another material is also there. Like without screws this table is possible. Without Fevicol this table is possible. But that is identifiable. That is visible. That is indirect material. Screws also important or not? Fevicol also important or not? Handles clear required or not? But what is immediately identifiable? Wood, plywood. What is not easily identifiable? Screws, Fevicol, etc. Adhesive. So that is indirect material. So the material whose cost object is not identifiable in economic feasible way, that is called as indirect material. Clear? Always remember, this is the important point to explain your answer. In one more way also we can understand this. In one more way also we can understand this. So direct material means whenever you produce one unit, ultimately you think about how much will be the material consumption required. So immediately which material will come in your mind? Direct material. Suppose if I want to ask the quotation from you, how much cost you will charge for this table. So first the person who is giving the quotation, he will think about direct material. What is the cost of direct material? Second, he will think about indirect material. Because indirect material per unit wise exactly in same proportion it will not increase. But direct material, if you produce one unit, suppose 1000 rupees material required. You produce 10,000 units, then 10,000 into 1000, it will exactly increase in the same proportion. It is exactly increase in the Same proportion. So direct material is always proportionate to volume. Always proportionate to volume. But indirect material is not proportionate to volume. For example, screws. You will not purchase screws for every table. You will purchase in bulk. Then you will use. Fevicol adhesive also, for every table how much Fevicol required you will not purchase. You purchase one big box or container, then you will use. So indirect materials are not exclusively purchased for producing one single product. It is in general purchase and used. And we are not at all interested per unit wise costing of indirect material also. Clear? But direct material we are interested. What is the per unit cost? Understand? If you do not interested in that, your costing will be wrong. Because ultimate objective of cost accounting is what? Ascertainment of cost. Ascertainment of cost. So cost ascertainment required or not? So direct material, indirect material. Examples of direct material I given, indirect material also given. Suppose one textile industry is there. Ready-made garment industry, suppose. Ready-made garment industry. Ready-made garment industry is selling t-shirts, jeans, shirts, formals, everything. So cloth is direct material. Cloth is what? Direct material. Buttons, thread, indirect material. Even though thread is visible, but for every shirt how much thread required they will calculate, no. They will purchase in general and they will consume. So that is indirect. Similarly for table already I given screws, nails, indirect. Adhesive, Fevicol, indirect. Okay, so here same is given, check. Direct materials are those materials which can be conveniently identified and directly allocated to a particular product or service. Example, a raw material, timber in furniture. In furniture manufacturing, wood or timber. In case of packing material, tinned food. Tetra pack will come now, or tinned packs. Cloth in garments, paper in books, cement in building construction. This is what? Direct material. Packing material is what? Bottle for waters, wines, plastic packing for milk, ghee and oil, plastic bags for cement packing. So packing material is different, direct material is different. Cost accounting standards also different here. For packing material, direct material, okay. Packing material is also increase in proportionate to volume. More sales, more packing required or not? Less sale, less packing required or not? So more number of items you sell, more packing required. So this is also like direct material, but it is not a direct material because this material is used for packing purpose and direct material is used for production purpose. The object is different. Direct material is used for producing the product or rendering the service. Packing material is used for producing product. No, it is packing purpose. The object is different now, but both are increasing or decreasing in proportionate to volume. Volume high, cost high. Volume low, cost low. Understand? Now indirect materials are those which cannot be conveniently identified and cannot be allocated to particular product or service. So small value material, that is what? Small value material. Clear? Like nails used in furniture, thread used in stitching garment, stores used for maintaining machines like lubricant oil, grease, cotton waste, consumable, etc. Okay? Clear? So I hope direct material, indirect material is clear now. All the students are confident? They understand direct material, indirect material? Right. Now direct labor, indirect labor. So whatever knowledge you have, first you can express. Direct labor means what? Directly involved in work. Indirect means indirectly involved. See, very simple. Direct labor means the labor who involved from raw material stage to finished goods stage. Indirect labor will not be interested in that. He will for the time being. From conversion of raw materials stage to finished goods stage, if labor is working, that labor is called as direct labor. Indirect labor is not involved from raw material to finished goods stage. Only they are used for some activities only, some operations only. Thereafter, their work is not relevant to the organization. Okay, so their role is limited. So direct labor is that labor which can be readily identifiable with specific job, contract or work order. If this is not understandable, you should use this. Already I explained this. अगर वो समझ में नहीं आ रहा है आपको, ये यूज करो ना भाई, ये easy है. All labor directly engaged in converting raw materials into finished goods is called as what? Direct labor. See, this point already you understand. That's why I am not explaining. If readily identifiable on job, contract or work order, then direct labor. But according to this, if I explain, already this is understand in direct material. Okay, identifiable point. That's why I am not repeating that. Clear? I am using different example. Okay, any labor who is engaged in conversion of raw materials into finished goods, those labor will be termed as direct. Okay, and here also your colleague has given one correct answer. Ki mostly direct labor will be paid on hourly basis or unit wise. How many units you prepare, according to that payment is made. How many hours you work, according to that payment is made. So those type of labors will be considered as direct. Okay, but that is not correct measure basis, because in some cases for indirect workers also per hour basis payment is made. That is also applicable. So best answer is what? This one. Engaged in converting raw materials into finished goods or readily identifiable with specific job or contract. See, if you purchase the plastic and you have machines, then plastic also available, machines also available, but product is made or not, that is not possible without labor. So labor required. Labor is required. Clear? So rice available है, stove available है, खाना बन जाता क्या? Chef required or not? So if you see biryani, you can identify ki labor work is there or not, chef work is there or not, because you are converting raw materials into finished goods. Very simple. Okay. So word-to-word explanation, if you do not understand also, no problem. In simplified words you can write. Okay. Right. Now example, suppose this table. In this table, whose work you will identify? Carpenter work. So carpenter. Clear? Weaving unit, weaver. Shirts, trousers, bakery items. Clear? Bakery items without baker possible? No. Next is indirect labor. Indirect labor means we cannot readily identify their work on a specific job, contract or order. So those workers or laborers are called as indirect labor. Means they are not involved in conversion of raw materials into finished goods. So indirect labor will be used for a specific purpose only. Once that completed, they are not required. So all laborers not directly engaged in converting raw materials into finished goods are what? Indirect labor. Okay. Like security department. Suppose labor is working and one security guard is also there. So security guard is involved in production? No. He is involved in security only. So he is indirect or direct? Indirect. Next, stores department. Labor is employed. He is generally watching the materials, inspecting the materials. So his job is limited to security purpose only. Clear? Timekeeping. Timekeeping department means generally which labor is coming at what time, one person is recording that. And he is submitting that report to your payroll department or timekeeping department. So that if any labor who is coming late, that labor salary should be deducted or some notice should be sent to him, so that all labor should come on time. So this labor is not involved in production now. This labor duty is what? To record the time and send this data sheet to concerned authorities. So is direct or indirect? Indirect. Clear? So indirect labors are not involved in production, that's it. Or not involved in service, direct service. Next, expenses. Expenses means very simple, cost other than material and labor. Cost other than material and labor is called as expenses. By any organization ultimately incur the cost in three areas only: material, labor, expenses. If material already purchased, labor already incurred, then ultimately remaining amount is incurred for what? Expenses. Production expense, administration expense, selling and distribution expense, R&D expense, like this. Okay. So all cost other than material cost and labor cost termed as expenses. Okay. So expenses also broadly classified into two: direct, indirect. Okay. Direct, indirect. Direct expenses are generally we'll discuss in cost accounting standard number 10. Okay. Last time 2 questions are tested from direct expenses in MCQ. Please listen carefully and try to retain this. Now when we discuss about direct expenses, so any expense which has been incurred by an organization, okay, and that expense is directly attributable to product or service, but that is not a material and that is not labor also, is termed as direct expense. So organization whenever incur the expenses and that expenses are directly attributable or allocated to product or service, but that is not a material and not a labor, so that cost is called as direct expenses. That cost is called as what? Direct expenses. So in examination you have to write in this way only. Don't use any other wording. See, all direct cost other than direct material and direct labor are termed as, so this is also readily identifiable. This is also readily identifiable. Clear? So here we need to understand examples. Then only this terminology will be clear to you. Okay? Suppose if you want to purchase a car or a flat or jewelry or suppose any XYZ product. In most of the things, design is very important. Product design is very important. Jewelry, women especially see what? Design. Motor car, design also important. Engine also important. Clear? Mobile phone, look also important. Performance also important. Clear? So suppose one person is designing motor car structure. So because of his design, car is looking very attractive, and because of his design, sale increasing. Okay, so this is an important part of your production line, or this is not important part of production line, important part. But the payment which you are making to this person is fixed or not in fixed nature, that is important. Suppose the person who is giving this design to company, that person put one condition. Why I am giving this design to you only on one condition, कि for every one unit whatever you sell, this much of amount you should pay to me. That is called as royalty. That is called as what? Royalty. Every one car sold, this much of royalty I want. Clear? Because of my design only sale is increasing now. So I does not interested in fixed amount. If I receive fixed amount, now you will made so many units and you will benefit. This is the loss to me. That's why I'm not interested to receive fixed amount. I want for every one unit, whatever company manufacture and sell, on every one unit, I want to receive. This condition he has put. So management agreed. For every one unit, whatever they are manufacturing, selling, they are giving the royalty. So this is direct or indirect? Kaisa indirect ho gaya? For every one unit you are paying na. So units increasing, increasing. Units decreasing, decreasing. So direct or indirect? Direct. Indirect kaisa hota hai boliye? Directly attributable to product. Directly attributable to product. Direct बोल तो वॉल्यूम बढ़ा तो बढ़ना, वॉल्यूम कमा तो कम हो जाना. And this is related to factory. This is related to administration. This is related to selling and distribution. नहीं है, इसलिए ये indirect भी नहीं है. When indirect will come? When it is related to factory, when it is related to administration, when it is related to selling and distribution, when it is related to R&D. That person is a freelancer person. वो पर्सन आपके पास एम्प्लॉय नहीं है. वो आपके पास एम्प्लॉय रहे तो वो डिजाइन फ्री में ले लेते आप, सैलरी नहीं दे रहे उसको आप. दैट पर्सन इज नॉट ए एम्प्लॉय ऑफ योर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, दैट इज ए फ्रीलांसर प्लस पर्सन. दैट पर्सन इज मेकिंग द डिजाइन एंड दैट पर्सन पुट वन कंडीशन. कंडीशन कौन रख सकता है? एम्प्लॉय रख सकता है, बाहर वाला रख सकता है, आउटसाइडर ओनली. सो आउटसाइडर पर्सन इज नॉट रिलेटिंग टू योर फैक्ट्री, एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, सेलिंग एंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन, R&D. So it is not indirect nature. So every one unit, whatever you made and sell, on that you are paying royalty. So it is not indirect. So ultimately what this is? Direct only. But this is a material, this is a labor, so this is direct expense. In this way we should understand this. इसलिए यहाँ पे confusion होता बल्कि last time 2 questions पूछा हूँ. First question in question paper इस पे ही पूछा हूँ. Last examination. Royalty paid to designer of the product is dash. Royalty paid to designer of the product is dash, which is paid on per unit basis. Fixed amount means this is not direct expenses. On per unit basis. On what basis? Per unit basis. So this is direct expenses. So royalty, cost of special design, hiring charges of machinery. Suppose you are hiring the machinery and you made one agreement key for every one unit produced, I will pay this much of royalty to you or hire charges to you. Suppose you have taken one machinery from one person on rent. Okay. So that machinery you are taking on hire basis, किराए पर ले रहे आप. And you agreed key for every one unit manufacture on this machine, this much of amount I will pay. Clear? So machinery is a hire. So you are not paying the hire charges in lump sum. If you are paying the hire charges in lump sum, that is fixed. But you are not paying the hire charges in lump sum. For every one unit you made, you are paying. Otherwise, what will happen? The person who supply the machine, if you take the lump sum amount, you will manufacture unlimited units. Machine will be not in good condition once you use that machine. So owner of the machine will also think, if I am giving this machine for limited amount only, manufacturer will manufacture very high quantity of goods. Thereafter my machinery will be already obsolete. So it will be loss for me. So that's why I will charge according to per unit. Okay, take this machine, no problem. But every unit what you manufacture, you should pay this much. You should pay less amount, no problem. But you should pay according to per unit. So that is also per unit wise payment decided, So whenever per unit wise payment decided, and that amount is not a material, that is not a labor, and that is not related to your factory, administration, selling and distribution, that will fall under direct expenses category. That will fall under direct expenses category. Understand? So what examples will come here? Royalty, cost of special design, hire charges of machinery. Royalty, Cost of special design, higher charges of machinery. ओके, यहाँ ये सो देखिए, कभी कभी इसमें जॉब प्रोसेसिंग चार्जेस भी आ जाते हैं, जॉब प्रोसेसिंग चार्जेस. सो ये दिस एक्साइज ड्यूटी इज नाउ रिमूव्ड. पहले था ये, दिस इज रिमूव. अब जीएसटी आ गया ना, ये बिफोर जीएसटी एक्साइज ड्यूटी था, अब जीएसटी हो गया ना, तो राइट नाउ दिस इज नॉट अप्लीकेबल. दैट्स व्हाई आई हैव नॉट एक्सप्लेन. ओके, examiner will not ask this question, don't worry, because nowadays GST excise is applicable but only on limited product applicable. 1 or 2 product अल्कोहल पे रहता है, क्लियर, पेट्रोल पर थोड़ा बहुत रहता है, but on maximum number of products GST applicable, excise not applicable. That's why this is not applicable on maximum number of products. So I explained royalty, cost of special design. Job processing charges means cost of special design, लिख लो आप इसको. This is what? Cost of special design. Cost of designing. Okay. Then hiring charges for machinery, tools, equipments. This is also you are paying on per unit basis. This is also you are paying on per unit basis. So this is not a material cost, this is not a labor cost, but this is direct identifiable. So it is termed as what? Direct expenses. Clear? Chale, one example you understand, clear na? See, sometime students will think that this is applicable for product only. Sometimes this is applicable for formula also. Formula. For example, Patanjali. You heard Patanjali? Suppose Patanjali is interested to introduce the energy drink. Patanjali is interested to introduce the energy drink in the market. Because day by day Indians becoming very sick. एनर्जी कम हो जा रहा भारत देश के लोगों में जंक फूड खाकर. बिकॉज ऑफ जंक फूड एनर्जी इज डिक्रीजिंग. तो रामदेव बाबा डिसाइडेड कि वी शुड इंट्रोड्यूस एनर्जी ड्रिंक. बट इन एनर्जी ड्रिंक गुड फ्लेवर इज नॉट कमिंग. So because of that, he is worried कि its sale can boost in the market or not. So he approaching some experts कि they should give some good flavor and taste, so that when people consume this, it should be looking like tasty also, and it will give the energy also. So 3-4 persons provided some formulas. One person is coming with strawberry flavor and taste. One person is coming with vanilla taste. One person is coming with pineapple taste. One person is coming with apple flavor. So ultimately Ramdev Baba finalized the pineapple flavor, suppose, and strawberry flavor. So we want to introduce starting 2 types of flavors in the market. But the people who are giving this formula for the flavor and taste, they put one condition. Ki for every 1 liter juice or energy drink they are selling, na, you have to pay this much of amount to me. Because of my flavor and taste, people will consume this. This is also one of the contributing factor or not, along with energy. Suppose you are selling 1 liter juice for 200 rupees, so you should pay 10% royalty to me. How much royalty? 10%, 20 rupees. So this is also direct expenses. This is also what? This is not material, na? You are paying for material, huh? The person who is providing the formula is labor, huh? You are labor, huh? Ramdev Baba labor, huh? This is not labor cost. He is not working in factory. He is not working in administration. He is not working in selling and distribution. He is also not there in Patanjali R&D department. So he is a third party, freelancer person providing the formula. So this is not indirect also. This is not direct material, direct labor also, but direct in nature. Ultimately, where in this category, which category it will fall? Direct expenses category. Understand? Right. Now indirect expenses means what? All indirect cost other than indirect material and indirect labor is called as indirect expenses. So here it is clearly mentioned indirect cost total. From indirect cost total, if you subtract indirect material, indirect labor, ultimately whatever left, that is called as indirect expenses. So indirect expenses very easy: rent, salary, okay, any administration expenses, selling and distribution expenses, all this will come here. The rent, rates, taxes, repairs, insurance, depreciation, telephone expenses, lighting, heating, cleaning, and selling expenses also you can consider here. Clear? So indirect material, indirect labor, indirect expenses, if you add these three, collectively it is called as overheads. Okay? So I hope direct, indirect now perfectly understand. This is very important. See, any student who haven't understand this, immediately they should ask. Because your first chapter is cost sheet also and direct material chapter also perfectly understandable from this terminology only. If you don't know this terminology, you will struggle. I explained in very simplified way. Even any student having doubt, I can give more examples. Okay? Online students, any query? No. A classification of cost by function. Function means in one organization, how many departments will work? Production department, administration department, selling and distribution department, research and development department. Sometimes quality department is also there. Nowadays newly started. Quality is also important. Suppose if defective product reach to customer, your reputation will decrease. So quality is also very important. So production department is compulsory essential. Administration also essential. Selling and distribution also essential. R&D also essential. Quality control, some organizations will maintain, some organization will not maintain. That is depends on their interest bhai. But production, administration, selling and distribution, R&D mandatory. R&D is mandatory for large scale enterprises and some medium scale enterprises also. Small industries will not use R&D because their budget is limited, na? So they don't have proper funding for R&D. Okay. So production cost means what? For producing the goods. For producing the goods, converting raw materials into finished goods, whatever cost is incurred, that is called as production cost. So production cost is the cost of sequence of operations which begins with supply of material, services and ends with what? Production. It's conversion of raw materials into finished goods, whatever cost you incurred other than direct material, other than direct labor and direct expenses, that is called as what? Production. Because you are converting raw materials into finished goods. But in this, material will not come, labor will not come, direct expenses will also not come. But this is related to what? Production. Like factory rent, factory expenses. This is one thing but what? Factory expenses. So production cost is nothing but what? Factory expenses. In factory, how many expenses will come? Remember that. Assume that all this is part of production cost. So what are the different types of expenses relating to factory? Factory rent, insurance of factory building, insurance of plant machinery, depreciation of plant machinery, work manager salary. Okay? Clear? Lighting, heating, clear, powers, electricity. Okay? Primary packing is also done in factory only, na? Secondary packing will be done in selling and distribution. Primary packing will take place in factory. So all this is related to your factory. So factory is called as production cost. what? Production cost. So here in production cost, generally we can use direct material also, we can use direct labor also, we can use direct expenses also. If the word cost is used, if I am using production expenses, what I am using? Then direct material, direct labor will not come. If I use the word production expenses, I will not consider direct material, direct labor, direct expenses. This will not come. If I use word cost, then I can use direct material, direct labor, direct expenses also. Understand? So here cost word is given, so you can use direct material, direct labor, direct expenses also. Okay? So ultimately, in examination, be careful. Cost means it is a aggregate. Cost means it is what? Aggregate. Expenses means individual specific. Like factory expenses given. Factory, so this is related to factory only. If factory cost is given, from direct material to factory, whatever we incur, all this will come. Aggregate. So be careful here. So here cost word is given, so you should add material, labor, direct expenses, factory expenses also. Expenses means that is related to that department only. Understand? So when you learn cost sheet, expenses word will also come, cost word will also come. So cost represent what? Aggregate. Expenses represent what? Specific to that department. Specific to that department. So expenses word is used for specific to that particular department. Cost word represent what? Aggregate. Please remember. अब यहाँ पर कॉस्ट वर्ड आ रहा है तो फिर मैं डायरेक्ट मटेरियल भी ऐड करूंगा. इफ कॉस्ट वर्ड इज गिवन then I use direct material, direct labor, direct expenses also. If this is not cost expenses, then only factory items will come here. Okay, समझ में आ गया है? Right. Now production cost is aggregate of what? Direct material, direct labor, direct expense, production overhead. Clear? By production department. Suppose if production overhead word given, then this will not come. Suppose here production overhead word is given, then this will not come. Only production overhead related to factory will come. Overhead expenses meaning same. Overhead expenses means same. Cost means aggregate. Cost means aggregate. So costing subject always be careful. जब भी वर्ड कॉस्ट आ जाएगा अग्रीगेट रहता हूं. ओवरहेड या एक्सपेंसेस आ गया तो डिपार्टमेंट का रहता है सिर्फ. इट इज नॉट एग्रीगेट. इट इज नॉट एग्रीगेट. राइट. नाउ एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन कॉस्ट. सो एक्चुअली दिस शुड बी एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन एक्सपेंसेस लिखना चाहिए मैं, बट आई एम रिकॉर्डिंग एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन कॉस्ट हियर. एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन कॉस्ट मीन्स व्हाट? कुछ आइडिया है आपको? फर्स्ट विल से व्हाट इज एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन. एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन किसको बोलते हैं? वहां देखकर नहीं बोलना, स्क्रीन पे डिफरेंट बोलना. हाँ, monitoring everything. Okay. Any other student? Day-to-day office work. Okay. This side management. See, success of every business depends on what? Formulation of policies and implementation of policies. Success of every business depends on what? Formulation of policies and its successful implementation. Only policies you formulated but you haven't implemented successfully, so business can be grown or no. Business will grow only when you implement successfully. So administration department is responsible for this. Formulation and successful implementation. Formulation and successful implementation, because they are not involved in production also, they are not involved in selling and distribution also. तो फिर क्या काम करेंगे लोग, खाली बैठ के सैलरी लेंगे. So policies will be formulated and implemented. In what way factory should work, in what way selling and distribution activity should be carried out. They will responsible for that. So that will be handed over to one managerial level people, and that managerial level people will hand over that to production related head, selling department head. So they will execute that. They will execute that. तो इसमें वही लिखा हुआ है, देखिए. Administration cost represents cost of formulating the policies and directing the organizations and controlling the operations. Clear? For which purpose? Administration. So this is not relating to what? Production, selling and distribution, R&D. Administration is not related to production, selling and distribution, R&D. This is separate wing, na? Separate wing. That's why their work is what? Formulation, directing, organizing, controlling. So बोलते हैं successful implementation. Directing, organizing, controlling is what? Successful implementation. So I use the word successful implementation, but here they use directing, organizing, controlling. Okay, so in the examination, simply you should write this. Administration department will formulate the policy. Okay, and they will successfully implement. They will successfully, suppose I am taking the classes here. Now I am a production department. मैं क्या हूँ यहाँ पर? Production department. Now same this class is uploaded on the YouTube and in the Google Play Store app also. This class is uploaded in app also, na? Any student who missed the class, they can watch. And any student who is not attending the class regularly, on Play Store it is available. Also it is available on YouTube. But I will not upload on YouTube, I will not upload in app. One person is working here. That person will do that activity. So that is what? Formulation and successful implementation. So what is formulation, successful implementation? By any student who is absent, that student should not be in loss, because sometimes due to health problem also student absent, due to some other reasons also student can absent. A student always want to make good career, but some conditions will not support him. So because of that he is absent. So if backup class is not given to him, his studies will be lag, na? So that is also required. So we arrange that. So I am not doing that. Admin Prasad sir will do that. The backup class should be provided on the same day, so that any student who miss, they can watch. They will prepare all this. Clear? All arrangements. They will supply the password, everything to the student. Clear? Right now it is not given to you. Within 1 week you will receive the message. Any class student miss, they can watch in the Play Store. आप मोबाइल फोन पे कभी भी देख ले सकते हैं आप. Till your exam. Till your exams. Anytime you can watch missing lecture. That is backup available here. Right now it is sent to some online live streaming students only through YouTube. But in future, after 10-15 days, one batch is confirmed. How many students are attending the classes? That is once confirmed. Backup facility is also available. Any subject, any class, you can watch at any time. आपको रात में सडनली नींद नहीं आ रही, बैठ के देख लो आप. वो फैसिलिटी है यहाँ पे. ओके, तो वो सुबह में जल्दी उठ गए, देख लो बैठकर, सब्जेक्ट समझ में आ जाता है. ओके. So that policies I will not prepare, na? They will prepare. I am only doing teaching work, professional work, formulation, implementation, their work. Suppose anything you want, they should consent them. Okay? तो वो जरूरी है नहीं है, बोलो मेरे को आप. Nowadays it is mandatory or not? Previously when we studied, वो नहीं था जब. When we miss class, we have to struggle. वी हैव टू गो टू द फ्रेंड हाउस, भाई नोट्स दे जरा लिख लेते हम लोग. एंड फैकल्टी ऑल्सो वी रिक्वेस्ट, सर दिस क्लास आई मिस्ड, एनी एक्स्ट्रा क्लास यू विल टेक? फैकल्टी विल से नो. सो आई विल गो टू द फ्रेंड्स हाउस, भाई कुछ समझा दो ऐसा. तो उन्होंने समझाता था बेचारा, कभी उन्हें ऑब्सेंट हो गया हम समझाते थे. तो इन दिस वे वी मैनेज. बट नाउ इट इज फैसिलिटीज डेवलप्ड, किसी के पास जाने की जरूरत नहीं, आप घर पे बैठ को डबल देख लो, आप 2 बार देख लो, फ्रेंड के पास जाने का जरूरत नहीं, समझ में आ जाएगा आपको. क्लियर? दिस इज द फैसिलिटी. सपोज ड्यू टू टाइम गैप यू फॉरगॉट 1 चैप्टर ऑल्सो, कभी कभी हो जाता है. सपोज फ्रॉम बिगिनिंग टू एंड यू अटेंड सो मेनी टॉपिक्स ना भाई, समटाइम व्हाट विल हैपन, you will forgot some topics, some points. So by watching the lecture it will recall. भाई आपका माइंड उतना भी इंटेलिजेंट नहीं है कि पूरे चैप्टर शुरू से एंड तक याद रखे. समटाइम यू फॉरगॉट और नॉट 100% भाई, 30-20% you forgot, so that you can manage through backup classes. That is the facility. So that is called as administration activity, because that is also required nowadays. Now that is production, that function is called as production function, no? That function is called as selling and distribution, no? That is R&D, no? क्या R&D उसमें कुछ भी नहीं है. R&D मेरे को करना पड़ता सब्जेक्ट में. Okay? So that is administration. So in administration, material cost will also come, labor cost will also come, expenses incurred by administration department will also come, because cost wording coming here. What wording coming? अगर मैं निकाल के expenses डाला तो ये नहीं आता. Be careful. Suppose if I remove this cost word and I write expense here, फिर ये नहीं आता. खाली administration वाले आते. Only what will come? Administration. Already I explained ना कि जब भी कॉस्ट आएगा सावधान रहना. कॉस्ट रिप्रेजेंट एग्रीगेट, एक्सपेंसेस रिप्रेजेंट स्पेसिफिक टू दिस डिपार्टमेंट, स्पेसिफिक टू दिस डिपार्टमेंट. अंडरस्टैंड? अब सेलिंग एंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन कॉस्ट है, क्या है? तो जब भी कॉस्ट आएगा मेटेरियल लेबर आ जाएगा, प्लस सेलिंग एक्सपेंसेस ऑल्सो, प्लस सेलिंग एक्सपेंसेस ऑल्सो. What is the difference between selling and distribution? What is the difference between selling and distribution? Distribution expenses will be incurred for dispatch of goods. Like on Amazon, you ordered one product. Now when they deliver the product, they have to pack. They have to incur some transportation cost. It is distribution. Selling expenses means advertisement, publicity. Clear? To different platforms. Clear? Advertisement जरूरी है भाई. Without advertisement, how customer will know? Customer communication will be possible through advertisement only. So advertisement is also important. So advertisement, publicity, this is selling. Distribution means what? Once order is confirmed, you have to dispatch na, you have to distribute the goods na, that is called as distribution. So distribution cost will take place only after order is confirmed, but selling cost is incurred before order confirmed also. बिकने से पहले सेलिंग एंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन, सेलिंग एक्सपेंसेस खर्च करना पड़ेगा. प्रोडक्ट बेचने से पहले क्या खर्च करना पड़ेगा? सेलिंग एक्सपेंसेस टू सेल द प्रोडक्ट. बट सेल होते समय कौन सा खर्चा होगा? डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन. बिकॉज यू हैव टू incur packing cost, you have to incur transportation cost. So that is only when order is confirmed or when you are dispatching the goods. But before that, what we have to incur? Selling cost. So selling cost is incurred before sale of the product or for the purpose of sale. But distribution cost is once confirmation is made. This product we have to dispatch. So there is distribution. So cost incurred for promotion, publicity, Advertisement for retaining the customer was the selling cost. Distribution cost. Distribution cost. Cost incurred for packing and dispatch of goods. अब यहाँ पे कॉस्ट बढ़ा रहा है तो मटेरियल भी आ जाएगा, लेबर भी आ जाएंगे इसमें. ओके, तो सेलिंग कॉस्ट, तो मटेरियल कॉस्ट, लेबर कॉस्ट एंड एक्सपेंसेस इंकर्ड बाय सेल डिपार्टमेंट. डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन कॉस्ट, मटेरियल कॉस्ट, लेबर कॉस्ट, एक्सपेंसेस इंकर्ड बाय डिपार्टमेंट. ओके, नेक्स्ट रिसर्च एंड डेवलपमेंट. रिसर्च एंड डेवलपमेंट में रिसर्च इज डिफरेंट, डेवलपमेंट इज डिफरेंट. व्हाट इज डिफरेंस बिटवीन रिसर्च एंड डेवलपमेंट? Research is made for new product or for improvisation. Development is made on existing product. Development is made on existing product. This existing model you are upgrading, existing services you are upgrading, existing things you are redefining. That is called as development. So on already produced product, development cost is incurred. Clear? तो देखिए, कॉस्ट ऑफ सर्चिंग फॉर न्यू प्रोडक्ट और इम्प्रूव्ड प्रोडक्ट और न्यू एप्लीकेशन ऑफ मटेरियल और न्यू मेथड इज रिसर्च कॉस्ट. तो नई की तलाश में, किसकी तलाश में आप? नई की तलाश में आप. बिकॉज थ्रू रिसर्च समटाइम न्यू प्रोडक्ट विल ऑल्सो कम, समटाइम न्यू प्रोडक्ट विल ऑल्सो कम. डेवलपमेंट मीन्स व्हाट? ऑलरेडी जो प्रोडक्ट है उसको ही आप डेवलप कर रहे हैं. कॉस्ट ऑफ प्रोसेस विच बिगिंस विथ इम्प्लीमेंटेशन ऑफ डिसीजन टू प्रोड्यूस न्यू प्रोडक्ट एंड एंड्स विथ कमेंसमेंट ऑफ फॉर्मल प्रोडक्शन एंड ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर प्रोडक्ट. मीन्स ऑलरेडी यू डेवलप द प्रोड्यूस द प्रोडक्ट और गॉट द आइडिया फॉर प्रोडक्ट. नाउ यू आर डेवलपिंग दैट. वंस यू गॉट द आइडिया, you have to implement that product in market now. So by incurring which cost you can implement that? Development cost. So that is called as development. So this is nothing but implementation. This is nothing but what? Implementation. Or existing products development also. Existing product development also. The next is cost classification by relating to cost center. Yesterday I explained na responsibility accounting में cost center, investment center, profit center, revenue center. So according to cost center, cost is break up into again two parts: direct, indirect. So direct material, direct labor, direct expenses. Indirect material, indirect labor, indirect expenses. It means cost center will use this breakup. Cost center will use this breakup. It means if you approaching the cost center regarding the cost, ultimately they have cost breakup in these two: direct, indirect. So already you understand all this. तो पूरा समझ में आ गया ना आपको? ओनली कॉस्ट सेंटर इस तरह से रिकॉर्ड करता है, बस इतना ही समझना है आपको. कॉस्ट सेंटर किस तरह से रिकॉर्ड करता है क्लास को? डायरेक्ट इनडायरेक्ट में. दैट्स इट. नाउ दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, इसलिए टिक करके रखा हुआ है. देखिए, दिस इज वेरिएबिलिटी और बिहेवियर. वेरिएबिलिटी और, this is very important. So variability or behavior means cost will not be same always. Some cost will be time driven cost, some cost will be volume driven cost. The costs which are volume related or output related, that will increase or decrease according to volume of production or decrease according to volume of production. Okay? Suppose you are living in a rented house, for example. So your monthly rent will every month change or it will same? Same. Food expenditure change. Why it will change? Because sometime you consume the food at outside, sometime you goes to the functions, sometime relatives comes. So members increase, decrease, volume increase, decrease. So because of increase or decrease in volume, food expenditure is increasing or decreasing. Suppose you are organizing one function. So you want to hire a function hall. So function hall rent will change. You will say, no, today your functions, number of members are increased, so I will charge extra amount. Or function hall rent is same. Food expenses, more volume, more. Less volume, less. Depends on your arrangement, bhai. For how many people you are interested, you will arrange the function according to that, na? More volume, more, less volume, less. So behavior means this is called as behavior. It means in what way cost is behaving. In what way cost is behaving. It means cost is increasing, decreasing, or flat. So fixed cost is constant. Fixed cost is constant, irrespective of volume or production. Volume increasing, decreasing, fixed cost will remain same. Suppose one organization producing 1000 units also, 10,000 also, 1 lakh also, fixed cost will remain same. Factory rent, salaries fixed will be same. But if they produce more number of unit, material cost will same or it will increase. ज़्यादा यूनिट बनाए तो मटेरियल ज़्यादा लगता कम लगता, फिर कॉस्ट बढ़ेगा ना. ज़्यादा यूनिट बनाए, लेबर को सैलरी ज़्यादा देना पड़ता, वेजेस ज़्यादा देना पड़ता, क्या सेम फिक्स देना पड़ता है? बिकॉज यू आर पेइंग ऑन पर आवर और पर यूनिट. क्लियर? सो दिस इज वेरिएबल. दिस इज व्हाट? So any expense which is vary according to volume or output is variable. Any expense which does not vary according to volume or output, that is fixed. And some expenses will be semi-variable also. Some expenses will be semi-variable also. Up to certain level fixed. Thereafter it will increase. Then up to certain level again fixed. Then again it will increase. Electricity bill. घर को ताला लगा दो आप, पूरा 1 महीना बाहर रहो, लॉक द हाउस एंड यू शुड स्टे at relative's house for 1 month. So electricity bill will be 0. Or he'll charge minimum charge. But if you use more electricity, bill will be more. Up to certain level it is fixed. Like 10 units, 50 units, 100 rupees, 85 rupees bill आता आपको. डोमेस्टिक में बोल रहा हूँ मैं. 50 यूनिट तक अगर जलाए तो कितना बिल आता है? 100 रुपीज़ मैक्सिमम. बट सपोज 100 के ऊपर जलाए तो क्या होता है? बिल बढ़ सकता है. देन अगेन मोर देन 100 अगेन इट विल इंक्रीज. तो टैरिफ विल चेंज और नॉट. So that is called as semi-variable. That is called as what? Semi-variable. So semi-variable is also called as step cost. Like up to 150 units, bill will be 100. 50 to 100, bill will be 200. 100 to 200, bill will be 500. Like this, bill will come. Okay? Depends on units also. If less units, it may be less. More units, more also. But no units also, zero is no zero. It will be fixed. Variable cost, if you are not producing any unit, it will be 0. Material, suppose you are not producing any product, you require material. So material cost is 0. Labor cost also 0. But fixed cost will be compulsory required. So more units, less units, my fixed cost will not change. My fixed cost will remain same. But more units, my variable will increase. Less units, my variable will decrease. No units, there is no variable cost. Semi-variable, up to certain level, it is fixed. Beyond that, it will increase. So semi-variable is a combination of both fixed and variable. Example, electricity bill. Okay? Supervisor charges B. Suppose for 50 worker, 1 supervisor required. Suppose number of worker increase. फिर और supervisor चाहिए नहीं चाहिए? Buses. Suppose you are going to picnic. School management decided to go to the picnic. So more number of students coming for picnic means more buses required. Suppose one bus capacity 50. Up to 50 students, 1 bus. Then 100 students, 2 buses. 500 students, 10 buses. Clear? Clear? Understand? So it means semi-variable means partly fixed, partly variable. Partly fixed, partly variable. Okay? What I am explaining is semi-variable expenses will not behave like variable. Variable expenses increase or decrease if every 1 unit increase or decrease. Fixed cost will not increase or decrease even units increasing, decreasing. Semi-variable up to certain level fixed, thereafter it will increase. Again it will increase and reach to one level, again it will fix. Then beyond that level again it will increase. Like this, stepwise it will change. In this semi-variable cost, variable is also there, fixed is also there. Both components are mixed. So we have to separate that. So we have to use some methods here. How to separate the fixed and variable from semi-variable. That I will explain, don't worry. Terminology समझ में आया ये? Economics में भी रहता है ये तो. This is understand? फिक्स वेरिएबल नहीं समझ में आया ना, पूरा सब्जेक्ट ही नहीं समझ में आता फिर. That's why this is very important. Any student who are not able to understand, please, here only they should express, because fixed variable will come in every topic. So any cost which is increased due to increase in volume or decreased due to decrease in volume, variable. The cost which does not increase or decrease according to volume, fixed. And the cost which is fixed up to certain level of activity, but thereafter it may increase if level increases, is semi-variable. Okay. Now features भी पढ़ना है इसकी. क्या पढ़ना है आपको? Features. What are the features of fixed cost? Features of variable cost? Features of semi-variable cost. Last time MCQ में feature पूछा, variable का feature पूछा. So features, any idea? No. No idea? Okay, features. First, variable cost features I am explaining. Always remember, suppose in the next month, suppose your friend's birthday is there. So you are decided to purchase one cake and you want to give the lunch to all friends, lunch facility. So you are organizing in afternoon session, right? Suppose total 100 friends are joining the party. So you are ordering 100 pizzas. कितने पिज़्ज़ा ऑर्डर कर रहे हैं आप? 100. तो वन पिज़्ज़ा व्हाट इज द कॉस्ट? सपोज अच्छा लिए तो 150 में आता, समझो 150. ओके, तो 150 रुपीज. नाउ यू आर ऑर्डरिंग हाउ मेनी पिज़्ज़ास? 100. सपोज सडनली 10 फ्रेंड्स सेइंग कि वी आर नॉट कमिंग टू द पार्टी भाई. सो यू विल ऑर्डर हाउ मच? 90. So per unit pizza cost will change, no, 150 only. But previously 150 into 100 how much? But now 150 into 90, 13,500. 13,500. So 1,500 reduce now. But cost per unit is reducing, amount reducing. Suppose another situation, assume 100 friends ready for the party. Suddenly 10 more friends also interested. 110 friends. So 150 into 110, 16,500. Per unit pizza cost changing, no, but amount changing. So variable cost per unit wise always constant. Per unit wise always, amount wise variable. Amount wise variable. This is the feature. This is the feature. Amount wise change होते रहता हूँ. Units increase, decrease, amount affected. What is affected? But per unit will not affected. Per unit will not affected. देखिए इधर. Variable costs are those costs which vary in direct proportion to volume of production. Variable cost is exclusively in relation to production of products. Hence it is also called as product cost. Examples of variable cost is direct material, direct labor, direct expense, variable overhead. Direct cost is always variable. Means variable means it is proportionate to volume. Volume increase, decrease, this will also increase, decrease. So this is also called as production, because production increase, this will increase. Production decrease, this will decrease. Now characteristic. Total variable costs vary in direct proportion to volume. but variable cost per unit remain constant. Why? Suppose if your output is 0, variable cost is 10, total variable cost also 0. If your output is 10, variable cost is 10, total variable cost is 100. If your output is 20, this is 10, this is 200. Output 40, this is 10, 400. Output 50, this is 10, 500. Output increasing, this is also increasing. Output decreasing, this is also decreasing. This will be constant. This will be constant. तो वेरिएबल कॉस्ट पर यूनिट हमेशा क्या रहता है, सेम रहता है. ओके, एक पेन शॉप में गए आप, एक पेन लेना, 10 पेन लेना चाह रहे आप, प्राइस ऑफ द पेन विल रिमेन सेम. क्वांटिटी इंक्रीज, कॉस्ट विल इंक्रीज. क्वांटिटी डिक्रीज, कॉस्ट डिक्रीज. पर यूनिट वाइज सेम रहता है वो. महता क्या सोचने का इसमें, बहुत सिंपल है ये तो. ओके, वेरी सिंपल एक्सप्लेनेशन. नाउ अंडरस्टैंड. ग्राफिकली ऐसा प्रेजेंटेशन होता है. देखो, ये फिक्स कॉस्ट लाइन रहता है, ये वेरिएबल कॉस्ट लाइन रहता है. फिक्स कॉस्ट इज सेम. ये कॉस्ट वाई एक्सिस क्या रहता है, कॉस्ट. एक्स एक्सिस क्या रहता है, आउटपुट. इफ आउटपुट इज 0, 1, 2, 3, फिक्स कॉस्ट बेचारा सेम रहता है. बट वेरिएबल आउटपुट इंक्रीज इंक्रीज. जैसे जैसे आउटपुट बढ़ रहा है, बढ़ते ही जा रहा है, बढ़ते ही जा रहा है, बढ़ते ही जा रहा है. ओके, दिस इज आउटपुट ना. If output increasing, cost also increasing, so variable, but fixed cost is same. Parallel to x-axis रहता हूँ, parallel to x-axis. Suppose this is 10,000, 20, 30, 40. If volume is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, fixed cost will remain same. Fixed cost never changes. That's why it is always parallel to x-axis. Okay, I will explain this in marginal costing also, don't worry. फिर marginal costing में आता कैसा भी ना. Okay, right now this is sufficient. Right now you should concentrate on this 3. This is understand. ये पूरा परफेक्टली समझ में आना है आपको, क्योंकि एग्जामिनर आपको कहीं से भी क्वेश्चन पूछ सकता है. You can test the question from any area. चलो, now we'll discuss about fixed cost. Fixed cost does not vary according to volume or output. If volume increases, decreases, fixed cost will remain same. That's why this is called as periodic cost. Periodic cost or time-based cost. If organization producing 10,000 units also, 20,000 also, 1 lakh also, any volume, fixed cost will remain same. Okay? But the characteristic or features of fixed cost is exactly opposite to variable cost. Variable cost per unit is always constant. Fixed cost per unit will change. Variable cost amount wise changing. Fixed cost amount wise always same. See, ये fixed cost का लाइन है ये. Output 0 है, fixed cost 1000 है, तो भी 1000 खर्च करना ही पड़ेगा तुम्हारे को. Even if you are not producing any units also, you have to pay fixed cost. कोविड में शिप्स एकेडमी में कोई भी बच्चे नहीं थे यहाँ, रेंट पे नहीं करे ये लोग. ड्यूरिंग कोविड सिचुएशन nobody is coming here. I have also taken the classes from home, live streaming classes. Students are attending live streaming class. Okay, but Ships Academy has paid the rent or not? Ships Academy paid the salaries to their employees or not? So that is fixed. Even there is zero volume, cost will remain same. Cost will not change. Suppose if they are producing 1 unit, what is fixed cost? 1000. So 1000 divided by 1, कितना आएगा? 1000. Suppose they are producing 10 units, so 1000 divided by 10, तो कितना हो गया? 100. Suppose they are producing 100, 1000 divided by 100, 10. Suppose they are producing 1000, 1. Suppose they are producing 2000, 0.5. It means fixed cost will decrease when volume increase. When volume increase. Fixed cost will increase when volume decrease. तो वॉल्यूम अगर डिक्रीज है, फिक्स कॉस्ट पर यूनिट इंक्रीज है. वॉल्यूम इंक्रीज, फिक्स कॉस्ट पर यूनिट डिक्रीज. So always which is best? Volume should increase. Volume should Because when volume increases, fixed cost per unit will decrease. Fixed cost per unit हमेशा कम होना. अमाउंट वाइज तो सेम ही रहेगा भाई, हमेशा कॉस्ट कम होना ज्यादा होना. बोलो मेरे को पहले आप क्या चाहते बोलो मेरे को. आप सपोज आप बिजनेस संभाल रहे, यू आर डूइंग वन बिजनेस, यू आर ऑपरेटिंग वन बिजनेस. सो ऑलवेज व्हाट इज योर माइंडसेट? कॉस्ट हमेशा कमी होना. तो फिक्स कॉस्ट अमाउंट वाइज ऑलवेज सेम रहता है, दैट विल नॉट डिक्रीज और इंक्रीज. तो पर यूनिट वाइज तो कम होना ना फिर. तो व्हेन पर यूनिट वाइज इट विल डिक्रीज व्हेन वॉल्यूम इंक्रीज. व्हेन वॉल्यूम इंक्रीज, बिकॉज एवरी बिजनेसमैन ड्रीम इज व्हाट? Cost should decrease. Cost should decrease. But fixed cost amount wise always same. So where it will decrease? Per unit wise. When it will decrease? When volume increase. When volume increase. So always what is the good situation or ideal situation? Volume should be more. So when volume is more, fixed cost automatically decrease. And every businessman want decrease in fixed cost or decrease in cost. Simple. यहाँ लिख दिए, सो देखिए आपको वॉल्यूम इंक्रीजिंग, फिक्स कॉस्ट पर यूनिट डिक्रीजिंग. यहाँ पर यूनिट है, ये ओवरऑल तो सेम ही रहेगा. वो ओवरऑल ऑलवेज पर यूनिट डिक्रीज. व्हेन वॉल्यूम डिक्रीजेस पर यूनिट इंक्रीज. ओके ना? ऑल स्टूडेंट्स आर अंडरस्टैंडिंग और नॉट? ये सब फाउंडेशन में पढ़ाना है लोग. कई के लिए फीस लेते समझ में नहीं आता मेरे को. फाउंडेशन में पढ़ाने वाले फैकल्टी फीस कई को लेते? ये पढ़ाना ना वो लोग. गलत है नहीं ये, बोलिए आप. जब मैं फीस ले रहा हूं तो मुझे पूरा पढ़ाना पड़ेगा ना भाई, नहीं तो वो फीस मेरे लिए डाइजेस्टेबल नहीं है. वो मेरे हक का पैसा नहीं है. वो अगर मैं आपसे पैसे लिया और आपको मैं सर्विस नहीं दिया तो मैं एक तरह से गलत कर रहा हूं, पाप कर रहा हूं. मैं मेरे नज़रिए से बोल रहा हूं मैं. तो मैं पूरा पढ़ाना ना भाई, इसलिए मैं यहाँ पर पूरा पढ़ाता हूँ. आपको बेजारी आए तो ही पूरा पढ़ाता हूँ मैं. क्योंकि जब आपसे फीस चार्ज कर रहे हैं हम लोग, तो हमारा काम क्या है? जितना कोर्स में है वो पूरा पढ़ा देना. आप पैसा दिए भाई, मुझे एक प्लेट इडली चाहिए बोलकर, तो उसमें मैं 4 डालकर दे दूंगा. खाओ मत खाओ, फेंक लो, आपका मर्जी है वो. मैं 3 डाला तो क्या बोलेंगे आप? पैसे तो 4 के ले रहे, डाल रहे 3 आप. बोलते नहीं बोलते? वहां पर बोलते, यहां पर नहीं बोलते बच्चे. यहां पर 2 डाले तो भी खा के खामोश निकल जाते हैं. गलत है वो. पूरा पढ़ना. फीस पूरी दे रहे ना आप, आधी दे रहे क्या? ऐसा तो मैं ये बात नहीं करना चाहिए, इसकी गलत है वो. बट फिर भी फैकल्टी को तो मालूम रहना ना भाई, उन्होंने फीस ले रहा तो बच्चों से पूरा पढ़ाना उसका जिम्मेदारी है. पूरा पढ़ाना, पूरा कॉन्सेप्ट बोलना. अब देखिए आपको कितना तकलीफ हो रहा है समझने में. यही फाउंडेशन में पढ़ के आ जाते तो एक झटके में समझ में आता था पूरा आपको. ऐसा एक स्क्रीन पर डालते यार ये तो हम पढ़ लिए सर, हम लोग बोलते थे. आप बोलते थे नहीं? अब नेक्स्ट टाइम फाइनल में कोई पढ़ाया आपको, क्या बोलते आप? ऑलरेडी पढ़ ली हम लोग. फाइनल में फिर पढ़ाते आपको ये बेसिक थोड़ा बहुत. कोई भी फैकल्टी डायरेक्ट स्टार्ट नहीं करते, पढ़ाते फिर से. तो आप तो बोलेंगे हम तो पढ़ लिए सर, हमको तो समझ में आ गया है बस. तो जनरली आपके सिलेबस में है तो सभी फैकल्टीज का जिम्मेदारी बनता है पढ़ाना. हाँ, अगर पढ़ाए तो भाई कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, वो ग्रेडेड फैकल्टी है, समझना बस, खत्म बात. नहीं पढ़ाए तो भाई जानबूझकर उन्होंने सब्जेक्ट को हाइड कर रहा हूँ, और वो गलत भी है एक्चुअल में. अब लोग तो ऐसे नहीं रहते, बट थोड़े थोड़े लोग नहीं पढ़ाते. पढ़ाना चाहिए मेरे हिसाब से तो सब पढ़ा देना, वही बेस्ट है. तो फिक्स कॉस्ट क्लियर ना? वेरिएबल कॉस्ट, राइट. चलिए, सो नेक्स्ट क्लास विल डिस्कस अबाउट सेमी वेरिएबल. बोल दूंगा, खत्म कर दूंगा मैं. सेमी वेरिएबल कॉस्ट मीन्स अप टू सर्टेन लेवल इट इज फिक्स्ड, देयर आफ्टर इट विल इंक्रीज बियॉन्ड सर्टेन लेवल. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इसको देख लो अच्छे से. इफ ऑर्गेनाइजेशन प्रोड्यूसिंग 1000 यूनिट्स कॉस्ट हाउ मच? If organization producing 1500 units, cost how much? So whenever this is given, ये थोड़ा ध्यान से देखिए. How to decide कि this is semi variable or not? अभी तो मैं बोल दे रहा हूँ भाई, right now I am saying कि this is semi variable, but exam में कोई बोलता क्या आपको? You should decide that. So how to decide this? Please concentrate. First important thing is what? कि amount wise it is same or different? देखकर आराम से बोलो, कोई KBC नहीं चल रहा है यहाँ पे. सेम है ये, सेम है ये, डिफरेंट है ना? तो फिक्स कॉस्ट क्या रहता है? फिक्स कॉस्ट क्या रहता है? सेम रहता है। ये फिक्स सेम है क्या? ये फिक्स है, ये नहीं है तो फिक्स नहीं है, कंफर्म। नाउ वी हैव टू कैलकुलेट पर यूनिट। 5000 डिवाइडेड बाई 1000, 5000 divided by 1000, how much? 5. 6000 divided by 1500, how much? 4. अभी थोड़ी देर पहले क्या करें आप? इमीडिएटली 5-10 मिनट्स बिफोर यू लर्न फीचर्स ऑफ वेरिएबल कॉस्ट, फिक्स कॉस्ट। फीचर्स ऑफ वेरिएबल कॉस्ट के फीचर्स क्या पढ़े आप? पर यूनिट वाइज सेम, पर यूनिट वाइज कांस्टेंट। तो ये कांस्टेंट आ रहा आपको, तो ये वेरिएबल भी नहीं है, फिक्स भी नहीं है, सेमी वेरिएबल है। ऐसा आइडेंटिफाई करना पड़ता है आपको। अमाउंट वाइज नॉट सेम, पर यूनिट वाइज नॉट, तो अमाउंट वाइज सेम मीन्स फिक्स्ड, पर यूनिट वाइज सेम मीन्स वेरिएबल, अमाउंट वाइज ऑल्सो नॉट सेम, पर यूनिट वाइज ऑल्सो नॉट सेम, सेमी वेरिएबल। अंडरस्टूड? ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, 3-4 चैप्टर में आएगा पॉइंट है आपको। ऑल स्टूडेंट्स अंडरस्टैंड? अमाउंट वाइज नॉट सेम, पर यूनिट वाइज नॉट सेम, अमाउंट वाइज सेम फिक्स, per unit wise same variable, both are not same, semi variable. Now how to break up semi variable into fixed variable? You have to break up, क्योंकि उसमें दोनों मिले हुए ना भाई, वेरिएबल भी है फिक्स भी है। तो वेरिएबल सेपरेट, फिक्स सेपरेट, वेरिएबल सेपरेट, फिक्स सेपरेट। हाउ टू सेपरेट दिस? वेरी सिंपल। व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस इन कॉस्ट? 1000. What is the difference in units? 500. Difference in cost by difference in quantity. So variable cost will come. What will come? Variable cost per unit. So difference in cost, difference in quantity. So difference in cost 1000. Difference in quantity. So variable cost per unit will come. कितना आ गया? 2 rupees. Now 1000 into, first what is the semi variable cost for 1000 units? 5000. मैं दोनों से दिखाता हूं आपको, देखिए। सेमी वेरिएबल कॉस्ट फॉर 1000 यूनिट्स इज 5000। ये मैं हटा दूंगा थोड़ा, 1 मिनट रुक जाइए। हाँ ठीक है, पीछे करा हुआ है ना, राइट, पीछे लिखे चाहिए, 1 मिनट। Semi variable cost for 1000 units is 5000 na, so first you should write this 5000. In this variable part is how much? 2 rupees per unit, for 1 unit 2 rupees. So this is for how many units? 1000 na, so for 1000 units we have to calculate variable part. So 1000 into 2, how much variable? So 5000 minus 2000 fixed, how much? 3000. Again we have to calculate for this 1500 also. So for 1500 semi variable cost how much? 6000. So variable 1500 into 2, 3000. So this is how much? So fixed cost दोनों में सेम आता आपको। For 1500 units also fixed cost how much? For 1000 units also fixed cost how much? Then only your answer correct. Fixed हमेशा सेम, क्योंकि फिक्स क्या बोला अभी मैं आपको? अमाउंट वाइज सेम, वेरिएबल पर यूनिट वाइज सेम। So right now amount wise also different, per unit wise also different, that's why it is semi variable. And technique for breaking this semi variable is what? First variable cost per unit we have to calculate, that is change in cost, change in output. So 1000 change in cost, 500 change in output, so 2 rupees. So 5000 is variable, semi variable cost for 1000. So in that variable how much? 1000 into 2, so remaining fixed 3000. For 1500 semi variable cost is 3000, sorry 6000, and in variable 1500 to 3000, so fixed is 3000. सेमी वेरिएबल इस तरह से ड्रॉ होता है स्टेप वाइज, और ऐसा हो सकता है अप टू सर्टेन लेवल फिक्स, फिर वेरिएबल बढ़ गया है। ओके, सो रिमेनिंग विल डिस्कस इन द नेक्स्ट क्लास, अगले क्लास में हो जाएगा ये चैप्टर। ओके, एंड आई विल स्टार्ट कॉस्ट शीट ऑल्सो टुडे। आई विल सेंड दिस पीडीएफ टू योर ग्रुप, अब देख लो पूरा एक बार। ओके, all students are properly understanding?